Hello, my students. So, welcome all of you for the new learning experience. So, hope all of you are staying safe at home. Uh, so, I am teaching today to the camera. So, you guys might have sitting in front of your computer or using your mobile phone to attend to this lecture. So, hope you all can. So, I think we are starting the class again after 6 or 7 weeks, right? So, what we are doing is, hope you can remember the name of the subject, right? It's financial controls and audit. So, for your betterment, I will brief the syllabus from the beginning to understand where we are now in the syllabus, right? So, we will start with that. So, this will be a different type of experience for you, but however, we have to get used to this, right? So, this is the next level experience. So, this is going to be the trend in the near future. So, however, we have to get used to this. So, day by day, we will develop these technologies, use of the technology, learning methods. So, we will develop this day by day, right? So, we will start with the small summary of the syllabus, and we will see where we are now, right? So, as I explained from the day one, right, we have to study this subject, study this content in the perspective of an auditor, right? We have to think as we are the auditors. For that, for your understanding, I always use practical examples, my experiences, right, from the current business world. So, when you are studying this, one aspect is one important point is, so our perspective for the businesses as an auditor, right? For under that we have some subject contents, right? So, under this we learn about the business environment, what else? Can you remember? Corporate governance, what else we learn? Risk management, right? Risk in businesses, risk management. What else do we have? What was we studying very recently at the last day before the last day, right? Those are business processes. business processes, right? What else? The next topic for us is its internal controls. Just to make sure, we will see, yeah, that's it, right? So, these are the lessons we are having as an auditor, our perspective, right? Our view into a business, right? So, to act as an auditor, before acting as an auditor, first we need to know what is a business, what does businesses do, right? What is the environment, what is the background, what are the components of the business. So, first we need to take an idea about them. So, that's why we are having these topics in our syllabus, very simply, right? Next, now we are moving on to auditing. So, those are the two parts. Audit and assurance, right? So, under this, right? So, under this auditing part, first we need to know, we'll say auditing and other related services, right? So, we will first learn what are the assurance, engagement and other related services, right? Auditing, either we can say assurance, engagements and other related services. Next we will learn process of an audit. Process of an audit, either we can say process of an audit, either we can say preparation for the audit, right? So, here under this part, under the second component, we will have some lessons where we describe, right, what is auditing simply, the definition of auditing. So, what are the objectives of auditors? Scope of the auditors. So, how this auditing arises? What is the importance of audit? Right? So, the background study of the audit, the foundation for the audit, we will covering up from this part, the second component, right? Second topic. So, after being prepared, right? So, here we will learn what is a fraud, right? Why do we do an audit into a company? So, likewise, we will do those areas, we will cover up those areas. Then, we will do audit procedures. Audit procedures, right? Under the third part, we will do the audit procedures. So, here we discuss as an auditor, what do we study? That means, what do we do? What are our actions? What are the activities performed by an auditor? So, those things are touched under this area, point number 3. Right? Even in, so the study pack is also available, right? Study pack is also available with the institute now. So, better if you can purchase it as well, right? So, we will make an arrangement to share the tudes with you. So, in addition, you can refer this, right? Highly recommended to refer the study pack as well. So in study pack, the second topic I mentioned under auditing is given as chapter number 4, right? This is chapter number 4, right? This is chapter number 5. This is chapter number 6 in the study pack. Okay. So then we have, after doing the audit procedures, right? So after as auditors, what do? Is we audit financial statements of the companies, right? So after to do that audit, we need to have an understanding about the process of an audit, the background study, right? Then we will do audit procedures to check those items. We check the numbers, right? To check the numbers, we will do the audit procedures. So after checking the numbers, right? After checking the numbers, what we will do is we will issue an report as an auditor. So we have a separate part for this as well, right? Normally in your syllabus, it has a content around 10%. 10% of the mark for sure. It will be tested from audit reporting. So we will do a separate lesson for that as well, right? Then we have ethics. So these are the study guide reference numbers, right? Study pack. So then we'll have ethics, right? So ethics describes us how to behave simply. So as a professional person, right? As a professional person in the corporate world after getting qualified, so how to act, right? So those guidelines are given under ethics, and we have some other topics, right? Such as quality control and other requirements of auditing, such as so no need to go at this level, no need to go in depth. So the auditing part, I haven't described it yet, right? Much. So on the first day I told what is auditing, what is the importance of auditing, why do we need to have a separate person called auditor into a company. So some small things I explained, but I will do it again when we are going to start auditing and assurance part. Okay. So to give an update, so we have already covered up business environment part, right? Then corporate governance, it's done. Risk management, it's done, great. And business processes also, 80% I have completed, right? 80% I have completed. So today my plan is to cover up the rest of the 20% from business processes and to start up with internal controls and trying to complete it, right? 2. So today lesson we will have around 3 hours, right? So after 1.5 hours you can have a small break and you can again start with the videos. So we'll see, right? So now this is where we stand in the syllabus, right? Business processes. So we'll start the lesson with that. So what is a business process? Can you remember, right? So I will briefly explain from the beginning of this content area, though I have completed 80%. So we will, I will explain you from the beginning, right? I'll brief everything which we have done, which we have discussed, right? So what is a business process? Yes? Can you tell me? If this is the physical class, I would have asked from you, right? So please refer your note as well when we are discussing these things. So you might have already have some notes. You have the tute with you. So while I am explaining, please refer the tute as well, right? So it's a combination of related activities, right? Business process is a combination of related activities to obtain an output. Simply, let's say a customer wants to buy something from your company, from your boutique, from your shop. So what they will do? They will come to your shop and they will make the order. So then you sometimes let's say if it's not a readily available thing, let's say it's a tailor shop. Then if the customer wants to have a suit, so you have to take the measurements. So you have to write it down. So you have to get the customer details. So you have to give a date to him, which when you are supposed to deliver it to the customer. So likewise, there is a process, right? There are many activities. So at the end of it, you will have the output, which is the quality good for the customer. So that's a business process. So for even you are preparing, it's a process. Even if you are preparing for the exam, it's a process, right? First you have to attend to a class, right? You have to get the study materials. Then you have to study topics one by one, right? Then at the end of the day, you have to sit for the exam, right? Then you will deliver your answer on a paper and you will get the result. So that's a process, right? It's a combination of related activities. A combination of related activities. So likewise, even in businesses also, there are many processes, right? So when I joined to the audit firm, so I was asked to visit my client, right? And to get an understanding about these business processes and to document it, right? So at that time, it was a big deal. So with my senior guy, so I referred my prior auditing papers, what we have, documents and everything, and I discussed with clients, right? And one by one, they explained it to me. My senior explained it to me. So that's how I learned these things, right? So I can explain you practically what happened. So under your syllabus, so in a business, there are thousands of processes. There can be, they can have thousands of processes, hundreds of processes, right? Small processes. So, but in your syllabus, they have identified 5 main business processes, right? 5, basically they will test around only 1 or 2 at once, right? In a paper, they will check 1 or 2 business processes in a paper, normally. In a one paper. So for that, you have to study around 5 business processes, right? So we will explain, we will brief, we will remind from one by one. One main process is the procurement process. Procurement. We can also state it purchase and payable process, right? So that means to deliver an output to the customer, to deliver a good to the customer, what you need to have? You need to have materials, you need to have a production process, you need employees, right? So that happens in a process, right? It's a flow. Let's say you are buying something from a shop, right? As an individual, let's say you are going to buy something to eat, right? So you can just take money from your mom or dad, right? So you can just walk into the shop, you can buy them, that's it, right? The person in the shop, the owner, sometimes he might issue an invoice or not, right? So he will take money, he will give you change, that's it. That's the end of that process. So, but in a business, you can't do that, right? So they have a process for that, right? So what's a simple definition of a business process? It's a combination of related activities to obtain an output. There are many definitions. I am telling it very simply, right? So examiner will never ask what is the business process, right? So normally I have shown, we did some past paper questions in the class too, right? In the month of March. So you know how the question arises, right? I told you. I let you write the answer within the class and we discussed, right? So the examiner will give you a scenario, right? He will give you a story and ask you to write issues to find out issues from that case, right? So what are the problems in the given scenario? What are the problems in the given business process? Why they might have asked what are the positive sides of this given process, right? Even that was questioned in one or two past papers, right? So one main procedure is procurement process. Either we can say purchase and payable. Purchase and payable, right? You can listen well, right? Procurement procedure or procurement process or purchase and payable process we can call. So if you can remember, so from where we do start the process? Procurement process, from where do we start? Let's say you are working in an organization, right? So no, we'll start from the previous example. So you went to the shop and you need to buy something. So you will go to the shop and you will ask the shop owner or the cashier or the salesperson, I need this good, right? This is the quantity and what's the price, you will ask. So based on the availability, he will issue you the goods. As same in a business also, let's say we will take a huge company, a garment company, an apparel industry, a company from the apparel industry, right? So they have several departments, right? I will tell you some. They have a purchasing department, right? They have stores. They have the operational line, the production line. That's a separate department, production department. They have the finance department, right? They have the merchandisers. They have the marketing department. They have the HR department. Likewise, they will have several number of departments. So let's say your output is a t-shirt. Let's say this is your output, the t-shirt, right? So to get this t-shirt done, you might need the support of 4,000 people. Can you believe, right? So in a garment, one single employee might not know how to make this t-shirt, right? How to sew this t-shirt. But production line in the line, someone will sew the collar, right? Someone will take the fabrics into the production line, right? So many number of employees are involving in arriving this output. Okay. So let's say the production department, right? Now they want fabric, they want yarn, they want needles to prepare this, right? To sew this. So for that they will need materials, right? So that's what you call procurement. So to obtain the output, you need to have some materials. Okay. So even let's say they want stationery, sir, to document the output, to document the process, to document the information, to document the data. They might need stationery. Even that's procurement, right? If you need them, so you need to get them. So that's the process what you call procurement, right? So first of all, we will see from where this process is going to initiate, right? So now we are going to discuss procurement process. I already did, right? But I am going to brief you to remember about to get back to you on the track, right, about the business processes. So my target is to initiate the proper discussion from inventory management onwards, right? So under this business processes, procurement process is just a one topic, right? So we have what else we have? Can you remember? Payroll process, right? Cash management process, inventory management process, property plant and equipment management process, right? Likewise, we have different topics. So at the last day, I did property plant and equipment management process, but we will do it again. And also, there are some topics, small topics to discuss under inventory management process as well, right? So we already completed the procurement process, cash management process and the payroll process, right? Two more processes are left to discuss. So before going to them, those two, so I will brief you what is the procurement process. So you can easily get to the points of inventory management process as well. Let's see. Right? So the requirement will arise from the user divisions, right? User divisions means the factory, right? The HR department, marketing department, finance department, what else, right? To deliver the output, they will need some materials. For that only they are requesting, they are going to request the goods, they are going to request the materials, right? So from whom they have to request? Who do have these things? The materials who do have? It's with stores normally. Even just go to a shoe palace, a boutique who are selling shoes. So when you request the type of the shoes which you required, right? So they will move on to their stores and they will get it back to you, right? You might have seen. They are going inside, they are finding the required shoes and they are delivering it to you, right? Likewise, everyone will request the things from the stores, right? So this is why I called, in a business there is a process for everything. So there is a document, there is a recommended process for everything, right? So if you need something to buy, you have to raise an MRN, right? So if you need something to eat, you don't raise a MRN to your mother, right? But in a business you have to. So MRN stands for Material Requisition Note, right? I have given an illustrative example in your tute as well. So when after you make the request from the stores, right? If they have that good, they will immediately deliver it to you. Right? They will immediately deliver it to you. But let's assume they don't have the requested good by you, right? They don't have. Then what will happen? We'll see. then if you don't have the requested good, you have to make the request to the purchasing department to buy that particular good. So what they will do? Even you can use a MRN here as well, right? MRN you can use it here as well. So here now the purchasing department has received a request to purchase some goods, purchase some materials. So what they need to do? Now they have to select a supplier, right? To whom I am going to buy. So so let's so just remember how your mother is buying some goods from a boutique, from a shop, right? How she does that? Just she directly goes and buy that good? Never, right? So she will check the quality of the good. She will check the price of the good, right? What are the available products, right? What is the most suitable with the better quality and with a good price? She will always look into them, right? So same approach you can apply into a business, right? So you have to select from whom I am going to buy. You have to make a decision from whom I am going to buy. So for that, there is a separate process called supplier selection, right? So this process we call quotation calling. Quotation calling, you might have heard, right? So even if you are doing a project in your school, right? Let's say you are going to go for a trip. So you will get some quotation from different bus owners, right? So from different bus suppliers, you will have what is the price. We want to go to Noorali and come back to the school. It's a 2-day trip. What's your price? So you will ask that from the same question from number of bus owners, bus suppliers, right? Then thereafter only you will select. You will look at the quality of the bus, right? Whether you can comfortably travel and what's the price. So here we have to consider both quality and the quantity, right? Quantity means the price. The quality of the goods, we will say quality and the price, right? So not only that, there are many criteria to consider when selecting an appropriate supplier, right? So what are the points to select an appropriate supplier? So let's take the same example we discussed. Let's say you are going to go for a trip from your school, right? Let's say it's a girls' school, let's say. So what are the things you consider before selecting an appropriate bus owner or either bus supplier, right? So one thing is you will look into the quality of the transportation which we are going to have, right? So whether you can travel comfortably, that's a one thing, right? The price is also another factor. details. You also have to consider about this bus driver. Let's say you are going to have a long trip, right? Whether that person is carefully driving, whether he is a responsible person, right? So those things also you need to consider, right? So what's the route they are going to use, and whether they will be able to provide the expected service to you, right? A familiar, a very friendly service, whether they will provide, whether they will protect you, right? So many things to consider. So I have even in the TUT, if I am not mistaken, in the note also I mentioned what are the points which you need to consider when selecting an appropriate supplier. Okay. So let's say from these 3 suppliers I selected one supplier, right? Let's say Amal, right? So this is Amal. Now your company has selected Amal to provide this particular material to your company, right? Now we'll see now Amal going to provide. So to whom Amal going to deliver these goods? To the stores, right? Amal will deliver the goods to the stores. While delivering the goods, right? So I forgot one thing. Right? Now purchasing department selected the supplier. After selecting the supplier, you need to make him a purchase order. PO stands for purchase order. Order the goods. Right? Order the goods. So after raising the PO, based on the PO, so in the PO, what do we mention? What is the description? What do you need? Right? What is the date? What is the quantity? And what is the agreed price as per the quotations? So many things you have to mention here, purchase order, and you will sign it and give it to this person, right? So based on the purchase order, that person is going to provide you the goods, right? So why do we need to have these documents within the process? What is the requirement of having these documents? This is the evidence. Right? So as auditors, we need evidence. That's why we are studying these documents. That's why we are studying about these documents, right? So when delivering the goods, another document is arising. What's it? It's called GRN, Goods Received Note, right? First MRN, based on the MRN, stores requested from the purchasing department to purchase, then purchasing department requested from the suppliers for quotations. After that, they selected an appropriate supplier, right? They issued a PO. Then you will receive the goods, right? So get a practical example. So when you, let's say you are walking into a supermarket and you are purchasing some goods. So from the cashier, you will get the bill along with the goods, right? So the description, the amount, the price of the goods, everything will be mentioned. As same, you will have a GRN, right? That means this is not you are having from the supplier, right? This you will internally generate, right? Practically, it will not happen. We don't raise a GRN personally, no. When we receive goods, right? We will receive the supply invoice. We will check that. Okay, we have received them. You will take the goods and come home. But in a company, you can't do that, right? Because what is the reason? Why do we need these types of documents? Because the company's owners and the management are two separate people. So you need to have a transparency, right? Owners might need to know what is happening with the business, right? What the management is doing, right? About their integrity, right? About the transparency, they do matters very much. So that's why we need these types of documents as evidence, right? So here I am receiving the GRN, goods received note. Now, is that's all or not? Can you remember? Are we done? Not yet. What's the rest of the part? Now the procurement part is completed. This is what you call procurement, right? But now the purchase part is done. Procurement part. Purchase part is done. What about the payables? Now you have to pay them, right? You can't just buy the things and you can just leave it like this. So procurement part is completed, but you have to make the payment. So for the payment, what do we need? Let's take the previous example. You walked into a supermarket, right? They gave the goods. They delivered the goods to us along with the invoice. That's what I need to mention. So as same, when the supplier is providing goods to the company, they will also issue an invoice, right? So they are going to issue the invoice to whom? To the stores? Maybe not, right? There is a separate division called, which is our kingdom as the accounting students. What is it? Finance department. So, if you are willing to, one day if you are willing to have a job from the finance, the accounting field, this is where you're going to end up, right? So, after selecting the supplier, they will issue the goods, and along with the goods, they will also issue the invoice. Okay, so they will issue the invoice as well. So after receiving the invoice, you have to make what? You have to make the payment, right? You have to make the payment. When doing the payment, there is an important control. There is an important sub process, right? What is that sub process? Yes, three-way verification, three-way matching. Three-way matching. So, what do we match? What is three-way matching? Now all these are happened, right? We have received the invoice as well. Now we have to make the payment. So when making the payment, so as I told you, to ensure the transparency, right? To ensure the accuracy, to ensure not to have a fraud, what you need to do? You need to verify, right? Let's say I requested some goods and I received that from the supplier. Now I am going to make the payment. So before making the payment, what I need to do? Even if you walk into a cashier of a food city, when they deliver the goods to you along with the bill, what you need to do? Yes, before making the payment, you have to check whether the given amount in the receipt, given amount in the invoice is correct or not, right? So simply you do that. As same, even in the finance department, before making the payment, you have to verify your payment and ensure the accuracy of your payment, right? So for that, what do you use? You need to look into the PO. Just for the invoice value, you can't make the payment, right? Whatever the supplier has billed you, you can't make the payment, right? You have to make the payment for the received goods to you. Let's say purchasing department has requested to supply 1,000 goods, but due to the stock availability, that particular person has only provided 800 goods. That happened, right? Even in this pandemic situation. So once I made an order from a supermarket, a leading supermarket. So they delivered the goods to the doorstep, right? So they gave the invoice, we just signed and let them go, because due to the situation we can't check whether you have received all the goods, right? Unfortunately, 2 or 3 items which amounts 500, 600 were missing, right? So that happens, right? To avoid that, to avoid making payments to unnecessary things, right? You have to check the PO with the invoice from the supplier. It's must, right? So one document is PO, so you have to compare PO, invoice and another document as well, right? So what do you need to consider? PO එක බලන්න ඕනේ, invoice from the supplier you need to check, and the GRN. Because what if they have mistakenly or purposely mentioned something in the invoice and something they have delivered? So to verify invoice, we raise a GRN. අපි GRN එක raise කරන්නේ invoice කරපු එක හරිද කියලා බලන්න, to check it, right? So for that you need to consider PO, GRN, invoice. Then you know you are only making the payment for the received goods, for the requested goods. Receive උනාට වැඩකුත් නෑ, අපි ඉල්ලපු නැති දේවල් receive කළා නම්, right? Let's say you ordered you ordered a biscuit packet, then they have delivered you shoe polish. No point, right? So that's why we are comparing PO, GRN and invoice to ensure what you have requested they have delivered. You have to check the PO along with the GRN, and to ensure the payment you need to compare PO and the invoice. So however, simply if the examiner asks what is how to ensure a payment, right? So how to accurately make a payment to a supplier, you need to mention it's three-way matching, and you have to mention that you are going to compare PO, purchase order, GRN, goods received note, and the invoice from the supplier all together. Okay, so that's the end of the process. So here I will also mention again PO, GRN, invoice. Okay. So now let's move on to the inventory management process. Hope you can remember, you can refer. If you were absent, please take a note. Please ask someone to send photograph if you can't physically meet that person of the note, right? Even I will try to distribute if some guys are missing, if there are new people who are engaging with the videos, we'll try to distribute the lessons. Please contact IS for that, so I can coordinate with them, right? So this is the procurement process. I am not going to repeat again the payroll process which we have already discussed, and the cash management process. So we will directly move on to the fourth one, right, which is inventory management process, right? So I can capture the inventory management process from this example as well, right? So it's not a new thing. Inventory management process starts from here. Right? Inventory management process to the, except the payment part, you can consider inventory management process from here, from the same picture, right? The only difference is here I will mention some more documents, right? So after receiving goods from the supplier, what you can do? So you requested goods to provide to the user division, right? So you can provide the goods to the user division now. material issue note. MIN stands for material issue note, right? So inventory management process is simply someone is requesting goods from the stores, right? And you are issuing it, right? If you don't have the goods, what you need to do? You have to contact the purchasing department immediately. Hello, I am missing these goods. I need to supply this particular department. Please arrange the purchasing quote, right? So you can state that. Even in companies, right? I have to state this. Even in the study pack, even in the syllabus launch document, it says that to describe the information technology aspect of these to the student as well, right? So nowadays these documents are virtual documents, right? That means these are not hard documents. So we are having these through emails, through the system, right? Even in companies, let's say I have visited a huge manufacturing company when I was a trainee. So they use a system, right? So if I need something to buy, I can visit the system, I can make the order from the stores, right? So my boss have to approve it to ensure that I really need that material. So after requesting that, stores will make the arrangements to provide it to me. Likewise, system, right? I make the system. It through the network, it goes to the person, the stores person, and stores person will check the inventory availability from the system, right? So everything is plugged in together, right? So nowadays we have ERP systems, right? Enterprise resource management systems. So through those processes, all the departments are linked together. The purchasing department and the stores is linked. The HR department and the finance department is linked. Stores and the finance and department is linked through the network. So they have information availability there, right? So that's what we call ERP. So through ERPs we have that. Enterprise resource planning, right? Enterprise resource planning. ERP stands for enterprise resource planning. So ERP system, all these departments, all these processes, all these tasks are hub together. It's like a hub, right? So it's connected together. So you can you have information available. So earlier, when inventories are received to the departments, to the factory, so they might have written in a book. They might have used a logbook or something. They write everything. But nowadays it's not. You just touch the barcode scanner, you get into that system, right? You update your system. So when you are issuing, you again tap the barcode reader, then from the system it will be automatically deducted. So likewise, someone is requesting, if you have stocks, you can immediately supply. If you don't have, you have to request it from the purchasing department. So they will raise a PO, they will receive the goods from the supplier, that's GRN, right? So simply, this part we can take as the inventory process as well. No need to study differently, because the examiner will never ask to draw a chart or to describe inventory management process. So I use all these mind maps, I use these pictures, I use these map, right, for your betterment, for your understanding, so you can easily grab the subject matters. So you can easily capture points which is important, so you can use them when you are writing an answer, right? So we will have separate past paper discussions as well, don't be afraid, right? So this is just for your knowledge, this is just for your understanding. So you will need these points, you will need these subject matters when you are answering a question. So we did some past paper questions for purchasing process, inventory process as well, right? So now I am going to discuss the missing parts, right? The rest of the part from where we stopped, right? I think on the last day there were only few students. On the last day there were only few students. So I didn't do much, right? That people will have a trouble. So I didn't move into the new topic as well. So I just did a new process, which is property, plant and equipment process, right? So we had a rest of part from the inventory management process to discuss. So under inventory management process, there are some more important points to discuss. So I hope all of you are having the tute with you, right? So we'll move on to the tute. So inventory management process, right? So under inventory management process, as I told, I have given you a mind map, I have given you a chart, same as this particular component, okay? So you can refer the note, and apart from the chart, right? So simply inventory management process is you are having a need to have some materials. You need to consume some materials. So you will raise a material requisition note. So stores person will issue you the goods. If they don't have, they will request it from the purchasing department, right? So they will have a supplier, they will select a supplier, so the supplier will provide goods to the stores, okay? So there is another occasion. Let's say the supplier has given you some unnecessary things which you didn't request for, right? At that circumstance, you have to return them. Then you will have a credit note. Even in accounting, you know that, right? So if you want to reverse something, you will raise a credit note. Let's say it's now it's different, right? For a customer returning, it's different. For a supplier returning, it's different. So we simply call, you are raising a credit note and you are giving it back to that person. That's a small another part which is not mandatory. So simply it's enough to know about this process: material requesting, material receiving and updating the system, receiving the goods from the supplier, right? Those are the inventory management. So in addition to that, there are some more points where you need to know about simply, right? So one thing is inventory levels. Can you remember the reorder level? You might have done this under accounting, under management accounting and all. So it is included in the study guide, right, in the final level study guide, but it is not necessary for you to study that in this content, right. Under auditing, it will not be tested. Just knowing about that concepts is enough, right. Reorder level, economic order quantity, maximum level of inventory, minimum level of inventory, reorder quantity. So those are some small concepts which we are not going to discuss about, right. Those have never been tested, and it is not relevant to test it under this module. Okay. So I'm not going to waste our time, because under this new learning experience, right, it's better, it's recommended to only discuss the relevant matters for the examination, because even as we are not physically available in the classrooms, so it will definitely, I know, even I am a student, it will be difficult to concentrate on the video for a long time, right. So we'll only discuss the necessary things, as we have missed many days, right. For sure exams will be extended, but it will be postponed, the exam dates will be extended, but we will have a limited time, right. So we will thoroughly we will focus on the mandatory areas and questionable areas along with the past papers, right. So just for your knowledge, so you can just go through about those inventory cost things, inventory cost, economic order quantity, inventory control levels, right, minimum order quantity, maximum inventory level. So those items I am going to skip, right. Okay. So as I told, we are dealing with systems nowadays, right. Information technology, we are having information technology, and we use information technology, the modules of information technology within these activities, right. When so inventories, normally nowadays inventories are coded, right. So even in this pen you can see there is a barcode, right. A barcode is printed here. So when they are issuing these, they just touch this to the barcode reader and they issue, right. Even while receiving, we can use this barcode we can use while we are receiving inventories. Either we can paste another sticker from our company, because this is supplier's barcode, no. So we can use our own barcode and we can market it to the system, right. So you need to know barcode systems are used nowadays, right. So if the examiner is asking some improvements to the given scenario, let's say they have given a scenario about some sort of inventory management process of a company, right, and you have asked to give more recommendations to improve the process, right. So you can recommend inventory barcoding, right. So you can mention it in your note, or as a question, even you can highlight even in the tute, right. So you can use a barcode reader, right. You can use the barcode technology to manage the inventory, right, when it comes to storing the materials. So so if you use a barcode, each individual item, inventory item, material item will have a separate barcode, right. So it is identical. So to manage inventory properly, so we for sure I will discuss a past paper question with you, then you will understand it properly, right. So using inventory barcodes is very important. So we will do like this, right. I will list down some points under inventory management process which are important apart from this chart, right. In addition to this chart, we will see what are the other important subject matters you need to know. Okay. 。 . 。  . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 。 . 。 。 。 . 。 。 . 。 。 . 。 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。
Okay.
now listen to me carefully, right? So I am going to tell you what you need to know under inventory management process. First thing, you need to know about the process, about the map, how it flow, right? What are the related activities, how it goes one by one, how it is going to flow, right? So I have already given you a chart in your note, right? If you don't have, please get it from a friend, or and also we will make some arrangement to distribute. I will coordinate to distribute this if you are missing the note, this content in the note, we will make some arrangement for that as well, right? So however, for now I have already given you the map. Even you can use the map we used for purchase and payable for the same inventory process, right? First thing, you need to know what are the components of that, what is happening there. Someone is requesting, in stores is supplying, if they don't have, they are requesting from the purchasing department, so they will again request it from a supplier. Supplier will provide you the goods, right? So then you provide it to the requested person, relevant person. So if the received materials from the suppliers are not in a good condition, either it's not if those are not the requested items, what you need to do, you have to return them. Likewise, there are some special tasks which we have already discussed, right? So even you can refer the tute, even you can refer the study pack. Next point, you need to know about storage of materials, why it is important and what is happening there, right? Storage of materials. So if you can, you might have seen this as well. During closing hours of a supermarket, let's say it's closing at 10 or it's closing around 9 o'clock. So during those hours, let's say at 7 o'clock, at 8 o'clock, some employees are storing goods, right? They are bringing things through the cart and they are storing it into the racks, right? So what's they are doing? They are storing the materials, even in a warehouse. Then apita payne ekane shop ekේ racks tika, right? Also they have a separate stores. In those stores also they have stored items which we have received from the suppliers. They are following a manner, they are following a procedure to store them, and they are storing it. Okay. So when you are storing it, there are some important points you need to know. Why? What? Right? The accessibility should be there, right? Let's say now let's say there is a shoe shop, shoe palace, right? So let's say we are having a shoe palace in front of the IAS, right? So I am going to buy a pair of shoe, and I went there and I requested, so this is the size and this is the style I need. What if they don't have that good with them in the shop? Let's say they have their shop in Kirulapana Junction, they have their warehouse in Kirulapan Junction. What will happen? So somebody should take a call, somebody should travel there and bring those goods. So that means you need to manage the availability, you need to ensure the accessibility to the inventory, right? So the most wanted goods, rapidly selling items, right? High demanded items, especially you need to store close by. Hari වැඩිය විකිනින්න නැති ටික ඈතට දානවා. ඉක්මනට විකිනින්නේව ටික ළඟට ගන්නවා. Right? Likewise, you need to consider about the accessibility, right? And also you need to consider about the condition of the goods, right? Let's say eggs, can you store eggs in the bottom of a rack? Let's say you are keeping stocks one on one, right? So even you go to a shop, even when you are coming back from the shop, even in your bag, right, you will keep the eggs in top of that. Top of the bag you are having eggs. You can't keep it at the bottom, right? It will be a disaster then. So likewise, you need to consider about the condition of the good as well, right? It's another point. And also the expiry date, right? Let's say even in a food city, right, even in a supermarket, you might have seen the, let's say you are receiving some goods very recently, then you are, that particular shop people are storing it at the back of the refrigerator. Let's say the food city is receiving yogurts, right? So they don't just store the recently received yogurts in the front of the rack, right? They will also always use the back side, right? They will store it in the back, right? So otherwise what will happen? The the items will become expire, right? So recently received items, always they are storing it back, right? So the customers will walk into the rack, they will get the good which are presented in the front line, right? So all the recently received goods are stored in back. Likewise, when you are storing the goods, you have to consider such matters, okay? And also you have to consider effective use of the store, right? I have seen a beautiful racking system, right? A storing system within one of our client, right? They have used, we can say, let's say it's a floor area. Let's say it's a floor area. So they have used from that more than of that floor area, right? They have used some case like they have built a rack, right? They have forklifts, and they have some automated uplift systems, right? So when you store the goods, it will lift up, right? And it will it will be stored in the top of the track, right? So that means from the space, not even only from the floor, from the whole space, they have used more than 80%, right? Very effective, very effective storage, right? So you have to think about that also. So if you store the goods here and there without following any procedure, right? If it's a mess, it's a cost to the company as well, right? So effective use will save the cost of your company. So you need to also consider that. So we have already completed discussing about the process of the inventory, which we have already taken into the books. Storage of the materials I just discussed. Then use of a coding system. Use of a coding system, which is also very important. I already discussed this recently, right? Coding system. So you have a code in your material, you have a barcode. So when you are receiving it to a location, to the stores, you will also again make a barcode. You will also stick a barcode on here and you will store. So likewise, use of a coding system is very important, right? So if you have a case and you have asked, the examiner has asked you to provide some recommendations to improve this particular system, for sure you have to mention it, right? Use a barcoding system, right? So that's about the coding system, nothing much to discuss, right? If you want, you can refer the TUT as well. Next, physical inventory counts. It is very important, right? So there are two types of counts, right? One is called periodical count. Periodical count, that means once a 6 months, once a year, twice a week, once a month. So if you are counting your inventories in that way, that is called a periodic count. Periodic count. And the other one is, we'll write it for your betterment. periodic count, continuous count, right? So periodic count is what? You are counting frequently over the period, right? Let's say you have a specific period, twice a year you have to count the whole inventory. Once a year you have to count all the inventory, right? Twice a week you have to count all the inventories. Likewise, you will have a periodic count system, right? These are not very important things, right? But when you are writing an answer, it's possible to apply this, right? Then continuous counts. What is continuous counts? Even in a supermarket, every day at the night they do a continuous count. Every day at night they do a continuous count. They will check whether this was the number of milk packets which was available in the morning, right? And you will check with the system, this much of inventories has been sold to the customers, okay? Then this should be the available number of packets of milk, right? So you can check it. So that's a continuous count. Continuously you are while issuing, while receiving, you do a proper count, right? So those are two types, just for your knowledge. And physical safeguards to inventory. What are they? What is that? Physical safeguards to inventory. Normally so if you take a balance sheet, right? As I say, now you are at home now, so you can download an annual report of a reputed company. Let's say better if it's a trading company. Just take John Keells, right? Just take John Keells, and in the balance sheet they have an item called inventory. So it is a very significant item. Normally, if it is a trading business, right? For service providing businesses, it's a different scenario. But if it is a trading business, it's very important to manage inventory properly, because inventory holds a significant amount of the business. Sometimes even it's valuable even above a land inventory, right? So it's like gold. Right? You need to protect it for the betterment of the company, to manage the profit of the company. So you need to manage inventory well. So physical safeguards you have placed to the business, to the stores, is very important. What are the physical safeguards? Very simple. So even you walk into a fashion stores, right? Even you walk into a supermarket, wherever, even in front of gates of houses, you have CCTV cameras. So that's a one control in place to safeguard inventory, right? Let's say we can say CCTV cameras. It's just a one safeguard, physical safeguard. What else? What else you can do to protect your inventory, right? Let's say you are having some gold. Items in your home, right? Chains, earrings and all. So what do? Do you store it in in a showcase? In the living room or something? No, never, right? You will store it in a cupboard, right? Within a drawer, which you lock the drawer also and keep the key somewhere else. That's how you protect gold. Either you will store it in the bank, right? You can purchase a storage box in a bank, and you can keep your gold items, right? Keep your valuable items there. Keep your money even, right? So that's how you protect money. That's how you protect your gold, right? So as I told you, inventory is like gold to a company, right? To a trading company especially. So CCTV camera, that's a one control, right? If somebody is stealing the goods, you can catch them, right? And also, people are feared to perform in threatful activities when there are CCTV cameras in place, right? You can see them. Sometimes they have stickers by mentioning that you are on the CCTV camera, please smile, right? What's they are doing? They don't need for you to smile. What they do is they are giving you an indication. Here, boy, there is a CCTV camera. If you do something wrong, we will catch you up, right? Even in just go to a ATM machine, that sticker is there. Please smile, you are on the camera, right? So that's one control. Another one is how can you protect? Another point, how you are protecting gold, right? You have restricted access, right? You have restricted access in a gold store in a bank, right? There are many restrictions in place to control people entering into that apartment, right? So they are having a huge iron door, right? There are 2 keys for that door. So 2 keys are with two different people. One is with the bank manager and one is with an assistant. Likewise, or the person who is responsible for that apartment, right? So likewise, physical controls are also in place. Even in a company, if you go to a company to work, right? Everybody can't enter into the office, right? You will have a fingerprint machine. You have to keep your finger and open the door. Otherwise, you are having a swipe card. You are having a card. If you keep that card to the door will open. Likewise, you can restrict physical access, right? Restricting physical access is another option. And another one, you can have physical observations, regular physical observations. You can have surprise visits. Let's say you are having a stores out of the town, out of the city. So you can give some surprise visits. You don't say the person who are managing that inventory, the stores. You don't inform him prior, without any prior notice. You just give a surprise visit, right? That's an option to control. So you can prohibit unauthorized access, right? That's a point I mentioned earlier. And also to protect the inventory, you can make a good environment there. Let's say you are having fisheries, right? So if you are having fisheries, you can have refrigerators with good condition, with a good brand name, right? With a good quality, right? Which will again as a return, which will protect your goods. So those are some examples for safeguards to physical inventories, right? So hope you are going on with me with your note, right? In your note, these things are mentioned. Even in the study pack, it's mentioned, right? So last one is use of inventory system. I already discussed this, right? ERP systems. Or an automated inventory management system. So these are some examples, right? So by using systems, you can ensure without any physical document, without any manual interventions, you can record your inventory in an effective manner, right? So the system will be automatically updated when goods are in. When the system will again will be updated when goods are taken out from the stores. So it's another way. It's another way to manage inventory effectively. So that's all, and that's enough for you to learn under this inventory management. But hope you will have an understanding about the inventory management levels. That means what do you call managing the ordering quantities such as economic ordering quantity, reorder level, maximum level, minimum level. So just have an understanding about them under management accounting, right? So that's all what I have to explain under this inventory management, right? So now we have completed what? So I erased the subject content of the business perspective. So under business perspective, we learned business environment, corporate governance, risk management, business processes, right? So under business processes, we have already completed procurement process, payroll process, cash management process, inventory management process, and now we are going to do property, plant and equipment process, right? Property, plant and equipment process. As I told you, this is a lesson which I did last day, which only few students were there, right? So I will make sure to draw the same chart, right? I will make sure to draw the same chart I drew that week, right? Otherwise, people who were there will confuse, right? So for that, I will use the same picture which I used to draw on that day. So first we will take the mind map into the books, right? Then we will discuss one by one. Okay. So I will complete this drawing, and thereafter we'll start the next session from this completed paragraph, right? Then we will describe thereafter.